Sumit, Aishwarya. Could I quickly have people write the names, please? Meanwhile, let me introduce myself. I am making my presence felt for the first time in the CRT session of Conduira Online. This is a live session. In this session, we are basically going to look at the most important goal I'm sure many of you people who are graduating have in your life. That of getting yourself a job. We are going to look at one of the biggest opportunities as well as problems that we have in front of us in the year 2017. Now, before I start my session, as usual, I'm going to request all of you people to give me two details. One, of course, your name. The second one would be the place from where you have logged in. For people who do not know me, my name is Abdullah. I am the CEO of Conduira Online, and I train people on various aspects of placement. Of course, is one of the core areas. I do talk about placement, about opportunities that are there in quite a few colleges, and what I'm going to be doing is simply this. I'm going to be talking about what is expected in the year 2017. Now, I'm sure if you are a person who has been keeping a track of the newspaper, you know that year 2017 there is one very, very dirty word that exists. This is a word that appears in newspaper every single day. It is a word that probably brings fright in the hearts and souls of quite a few Indians, and that word is nothing to do about of India or Indian. That word is Trump. I'm sure today one of the personalities who is famous or infamous, however you wish to call, is President Trump. Now, is he going to influence you personally? Answer is yes. Not that he is the President of India or the Prime Minister of India, but ladies and gentlemen, your life is going to be influenced big time by a decision that has been taken by the US to elect him as the President. Now, before I go into details of what you can expect in the year 2017 as far as placements are concerned, and then what is the strategy that you need to follow, let me share with you certain news articles, which probably is not something that you look forward to, but nevertheless you need to see. Now, this is a news article that appeared in the Hindustan Times recently. It talks about, it's a couple of months back article, it's a March 22 article, but it talks about cognizance, it talks about the layoffs. I'm sure, in case you have been tracking the news, you are aware of the fact that quite a few employees of Cognizance have already gone to the court against the layoffs. Now, this is an article that has appeared in Business Standard. It talks about IT job cuts. It says, after Wipro, Infosys, now IBM lays off thousands in India. Alright, this is India-centric. Business Standard. Meanwhile, Mohamed, Wahida, Sai, Tulsiram, Gayatri and Vinod, welcome to the session. Now, this is much more scarier an article. This appeared very recently, May 12, 2017. This the date that has been mentioned. Top 7 IT firms, including Infosys, Wipro, to lay off at least 56,000 employees this year. Now, this is not something that's happening only in India. You can look at this company, Cisco. I'm sure you're aware of this company. Cisco Systems is saying that it's going to lay off 1,100 employees. And this is today's article. It talks about what is happening in IT sector and why all these issues are happening in IT sector. Now, yes, unfortunately, I am being forced to start with all the bad news. In fact, if you pick up any day's newspaper, this is today's Hindu, and this is page number 3. And if you were to read this, it talks about one more problem that is impacting the IT sector, the strengthening of the Indian currency. Now, why am I telling you all this? Ladies and gentlemen, I am a very firm believer in the fact that before you go for a fight, you need to understand whom you are fighting and what are the odds against. The fact of the matter is, whether you are a mechanical engineer, whether you are an electrical engineer, one of the reasons why jobs were always there in the market is because of the field of IT. And ladies and gentlemen, the point that you need to understand is when the IT takes a hit, everything takes a hit. So fact of the matter is, whether you are interested in getting yourself IT job or not, maybe you are a mechanical engineer, passionate about a mechanical engineering job, but the fact of the matter is, when the IT takes a hit, mechanical engineering students who are going to go to IT are going to take a hit, which means the the supply or the demand of mechanical engineering jobs is also going to go up. So ladies and gentlemen, fact of the matter is, therefore 2017 is not expected to be a great year. It is not that economy has always boomed. There have been cases where economy has gone down. 2 years back the same thing happened. But this year is supposed to be bad for multiple reasons. One is of course President Trump. Now maybe you and I don't like President Trump, but the fact of the matter is President Trump is doing what Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi is doing. As much as Prime Minister Modi is promoting Make in India, President Trump is promoting Make in America, which means jobs are moving from India to America. The second problem that is happening is the fact that the monsoons of India, we really don't know how they are going to happen. You know, towards the end of this month, we are expecting the monsoons to come in, and it's expected the monsoons are going to be quite decent enough. But this expectation is more a prayer. We are all hoping and praying it is good enough, because I'm sure you're aware of the fact that monsoons have not been great in the last 1 or 2 years, especially in South India. Now you may probably ask me, how does failure of monsoons impact you? You are a student sitting in a college, you are a student who is going to get a fantastic degree, a BTech or a BE degree. But fact of the matter is, 70% of Indian economy depends on agriculture. And failure on monsoons impacts Indian economy, and the moment Indian economy is impacted, ladies and gentlemen, the first companies that are impacted are the core companies. So fact of the matter is, failure of monsoons can hurt any one of us. And there's a third problem, the problem which I did show in the newspaper. For example, rupee has been strengthening. A couple of months back, a dollar was 68.50. Now you can get a dollar at 64.50. Alright. Now when the rupee strengthens, what happens? Exports from India becomes bad, which means IT sector, which depends on export to countries like America, etc., will also be impacted. So net effect, placements are going to be bad. But is the environment really very gloomy? The answer is no. There are certain positive aspects which are happening. The best aspect you can talk about is the Make in India campaign that Prime Minister Modi is promoting, which means that core sector jobs will increase. If you look at the Indian budget, ladies and gentlemen, Government of India has increased the amount for infrastructure, more bridges, more emphasis on education, more emphasis on airports. Overall, better infrastructure would obviously mean that the core sector jobs will increase. So the bottom line is there's a huge elephant, a bad elephant in the room, there's a small good elephant in the room. Let's all hope the fact that the good is going to beat the bad, but ladies and gentlemen, be prepared for the worst as well. I'm reminded of what my principal always used to say, my professor whom I have always loved when I was doing my engineering. He used to say, be prepared for the worst. And if something good happens, ladies and gentlemen, you are still prepared for it. So, year 2017 is going to be a bad year, but the beauty is placements are another 4 to 5 months from now. So, what is this session all about? Before we start our series of sessions to do with placements, I am going to be in this session giving you a strategy as to what you need to do to see to it that you are prepared when the companies step inside your campus. Will the companies step inside your campus? Answer is yes, ladies and gentlemen. They will, because they need a talent. But they might not come to pick big numbers. No more are we probably going to have companies recruiting 500 numbers, 600 numbers. Probably the numbers are going to fall down, but they are going to be there. One of the things I keep telling my students is this. We can give hundreds of excuses for failure, but ladies and gentlemen, no one is interested in failures. What people are interested in is success, and ladies and gentlemen, we need to give success. Not just because world demands success, because we need success. Education has only one purpose. That is improvement in life. We are not doing our BE or BTech because we want to write in visiting card, Mohamed Abdullah BTech, or a marriage invitation card, Mohamed Abdullah BTech, wed so and so BTech. We are doing our engineering or any other degree for that matter because we want ourselves a job. And ladies and gentlemen, we are here, sitting right now, fighting for the job. So what exactly are we going to do? So before I go forward, let me reiterate what I have been saying. The point I have been asking is this the end of the Indian IT dream? And then I will be talking about what is that you as a student should do. So once again, let's look at what is going to happen. If you see so many increasing number of engineering colleges, I'm sure majority of you are engineers. I generally kid when, I say in a very non-serious way, but it really makes sense. I keep saying that today when you walk on the street and you bang someone by mistake, you ask him what is he or she will say they are engineers. So today we have so many engineering students, and the fact of the matter is the reason why we have so many students is also because everyone was told that if you're an engineer, your chances of getting a job is going to be high. But let's not forget, implicit in that is the fact that it's IT jobs. So the point that you need to understand is that IT dream, if it comes down, it is going to impact all of us. So is it the end of the Indian IT dream? Answer is no. At least for the next 2 to 3 years, the IT dream is not going to die. Yes, there's a huge change that is going to happen in the field of IT. I'm sure you have probably heard about BOT, which is a short form of robo. There's a lot of automation that is taking place. That is precisely this article today is all about. It talks about how how automation is taking up the low-end jobs. And let's not forget, when TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, CTS, all of these companies have been coming. They have not been coming to recruit you for the CTO post or the CEO post. They have been recruiting most of us to the low-end jobs. Now those low-end jobs are going for automation way, which means today the expectation the companies are going to have on you is going to increase. So is this the end of the Indian IT dream? Once again, no. But yes, this is a challenging days for you, and we need to ask ourselves only one question: during these challenging days, what do we do? Ladies and gentlemen, before I go forward, let me again introduce myself. I have already ranked 17 in GATE, joined Initial Science Bangalore for my Masters, and that is where I realized the fact that I love the theory of my engineering, but I don't really like the practice. I did my MBA from MDI Gurgaon. I have 335 out of 340 in GRE. I have 740 out of 800 in GMAT. Ladies and gentlemen, go to my Facebook. People generally use only one phrase for me: James Bond. My 10th class marks is 60, 12th class is 66. I am not a James Bond. If I were to think back on my childhood, I did not enjoy my schooling, and till my 9th class, 10th class, I failed quite a few subjects. I got huge amount of beating from my dad. I was shit afraid of my dad, and still am to a large extent. But the point that you need to understand is I have changed. I'm a very firm believer in the fact that people can change, and ladies and gentlemen, I probably take hope from that because I have seen myself change. So when I address you guys, I'm hoping the fact that you're not too much worried about what has happened so far. All that is past. What we are going to focus is, what are we going to do in the present for the next couple of months to see to it that come what may, we get ourselves a job. Now why am I saying that? Because as I keep saying, we need a job. We need a job because the moment we get a job, our confidence is going to go up. Maybe we are ambitious, maybe we are planning for higher education, maybe I know for the fact that few of you people are planning for, SBI and various other things too. But ladies and gentlemen, get yourself a job, because once a company comes to your campus, that is the best chance, best probability, highest probability for yourself to get a job. When a company comes to your campus, they need us. Therefore, they will give us respect. When we go to the company that is off campus, we will not get so much respect. So ladies and gentlemen, whether one company comes, two company comes, three company comes, it does not matter. Whether they take one student, two student, three student, it does not matter. Our business is to see to it that we are among those who get ourselves a job. So before I start my session, let me reiterate what I have always said to my students: be selfish. Let's fight for ourselves. I love my friends, and today if I can speak in good English, if my academics has improved, it's because of my friends. But I keep saying friendship is not about just tying up a friendship band and thinking of them on their birthdays. Friendship is about learning good things from them. Friendship is about motivating them, at the same time being motivated by others. See to it that you're coming together, because this year is going to be a bad year. And your responsibility: first, get yourself a job. Second, help your friends get yourself a job. We are in the month of May. This year, companies are likely to come by July, August, September. And yes, they are not going to recruit in big numbers. But we still have 3 to 4 months to improve our skills, to see to it that we are doing all that we can do to finally end up with a job before this year is over. 2017 might be a bad year for Indian economy, might be a bad year for global economy, but it should not be a bad year for us. If you can promise that to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, I think you are doing a huge service to all those who love you. So with this background, let's try to understand what is that we need to do this summer, that is the next couple of months, to see that we improve our chances. Now, before I talk about the 5 important things that you need to do, may I quickly again request all of you people to write in your names, and I am also interested in knowing which colleges you come from too. Please do so. That will give me an idea of the type of college companies that visit your campus, so that I will be able to personalize this session of mine a little more. Please type in your name, the place you are from, as well as the college you guys are from, please. Alright, what are the 5 important things that you need to do this summer? The first and the foremost, ladies and gentlemen, revise your academics. People generally ask me how important is marks. I have 60% marks, sir, I have 65% marks, sir, what is the probability of me getting myself a job? Ladies and gentlemen, the point that you need to understand is when a company comes to your campus and they say that 65% is good enough, then it does not matter whether you have 66, 76 or 86. Yes, having said that, you need to remember the fact that the person with 86 has an advantage over you if you have 66. But fact of the matter is, both of you get a chance to fight the battle. What happens when the economy is down? Whenever economy is down, the companies that come in, they set stringent criteria. Which means when they come in now, they will like to interview lesser number of people. Which means they are going to ask lesser number of people to write the test also. So it's quite likely what is going to happen is they might push up their minimum score requirement. So last year if it was 60, probably this year it's going to be 65. Now that's a possibility that you need to understand. However, if you were to look at companies like TCS, Wipro, CTS, they have a set norm basis the grade that is given to the college. So they are not going to change that profile. So the point that you need to understand is when we talk about academics in terms of percentage, it really does not matter what percentage you have now because you can't change it anyway. So, but the point is, if you do qualify to write the test, after that you will have the same chances as someone else who has better scores, and maybe that someone else is a topper of your college or even university. But yes, as I said earlier, the person does have a little bit of advantage. Now, how important is academics? Academics can be seen from 2 perspectives. One perspective, ladies and gentlemen, is the marks. The other is the knowledge. Now, what is going to happen is this year, the technical interviews are going to be a little more challenging. Companies are going to be interviewing you a little more to see how knowledgeable you are, how logical you are in using the knowledge to solve real life problems and all that. So, is academics important? Answer is yes. But as I said, don't worry too much of percentages because percentage is not something that can you do. What is that you should do? See to it that you are revising your academics in a big way. Now, you may ask, let's look at 2 things. One IT company, the other core company. When you go to an IT company and I am a non-IT guy, can they ask me questions in mechanical engineering, which is my area of specialization? Answer is yes. The reason why they can and they do ask questions in mechanical engineering is because I am a mechanical engineer. If 3 years inside the college when I have been exposed to mechanical engineering, and if I cannot answer mechanical engineering questions that are asked by the company in the interview, it will tell the company a simple thing. If a person can't learn in 3 years, how is he going to learn in 6 months? That is the training which I am going to provide as an IT company to a non-mechanical, non-IT engineer. So the fact of the matter is, when I say concentrate on academics, see to it that you are learning, use the summers to quickly revise certain areas and be ready because yes, you will be asked that question. But if you are a mechanical engineer and going for an IT job, the fact of the matter is they are not going to ask for high level IT questions. They are going to concentrate on mechanical engineering questions, which are going to be basic questions, but basically principle oriented questions. Questions like law of thermodynamics and its application, for example. But the point that you need to understand is this. When you go for a core company, I am a mechanical engineer, I go for a core company. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is core companies are going to quiz me more because core companies' requirements are lesser. They are not going to look at 3-digit figures. They are going to look at probably 1-digit figure as far as recruitment is concerned. So what is that they will do? They will quiz you more. So what is my recommendation? Am I therefore saying that, alright, start your first year, second year, third year and revise everything and be ready for all the 3 years? Answer is no. Ladies and gentlemen, the point that you need to understand is interview is something that you can control. If you have actually attended any of my sessions or I can see there are people from MBGR and all that. So if you have attended my sessions or if you have seen my videos, one of the things I keep reiterating is the fact that interview is an art of selling and more importantly controlling. For example, one of the classic example I talk about, if you were to go into the interview, right, and I am being interviewed by TCS, and I tell them in maybe a simple question like tell me something about yourself, that I did take mechanical engineering out of my own interest. If I use this one statement in my answer, you know what is going to happen? You bet your life on it. I have started controlling the interview, because the next question in all likeliness is going to be, if you did take mechanical engineering out of your own interest, then why do you want to shift to the field of IT? So the fact of the matter is, for you to win the interview, you need to learn how to control the interview as well. So what is that I am going to recommend? What I generally tell my students is this: don't try to become a James Bond. You don't need to learn first year, second year, third year syllabus. The fact is, if you could have learned, you would have already learned. But what is that you should do? Take one good area. So for example, I am a mechanical engineer. Let me give an area like thermal engineering. So what is that I would recommend? Be very strong in that area of thermal engineering. See to it that you are revising the concepts. If required, buy an objective book of GATE or something, run through those questions and keep it in your head. So what will happen in the interview is this: let us say you are sitting in front of an IT company or a core company and they ask you a question and you don't know the answer. What should my strategy be? Nothing wrong in saying, I'm very sorry sir, I don't recall. Nothing wrong. The fact of the matter you need to understand is, if you are of the opinion that you are expected to answer everything, ladies and gentlemen, that is a high expectation that you are setting on yourself. Yes, it's a good news if you can, but don't worry too much if you can't, especially in the technical interview. So if you don't know anything, there's a very good chance they'll ask one more question. Now, if you do not still know the answer to the second one, now you should start a worry. So what is that I recommend? If you are not able to answer the second question, then go ahead and tell them, I'm very sorry sir, I'm not able to recall, but I'm very strong in thermal engineering. Tempt them. Now, it's not necessarily that they will fall in the trap, but there's a very good chance they will start asking a few questions in thermal engineering. But the moment do so, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared to answer, because you challenge them and they have taken up the challenge. So what I'm going to recommend is very strong. Yes, knowledge is very important. Yes, when recession hits the market or when the jobs are less, companies expect you to be a little more higher in knowledge. So they are going to test you in the interview. And no, you cannot become a James Bond in the couple of months. So what is my recommendation? One or two areas, take it up and be a James Bond in that. See to it that you have a chance of answering most of the questions that can be asked. Remember, they generally ask questions which are logic based or important fact based, and when they ask, confidently give an answer. Now you may ask me one question: what if I tell that I'm comfortable in thermal engineering and they do ask questions in thermal engineering and I'm not able to answer? What will happen? Now that is a bad news. Because if you are claiming you are good in thermal engineering, you better be good in thermal engineering. But one point of caution. The point of caution is, don't take an area which is very specialized. Because the person who is interviewing you might not be a mechanical engineer. He might not know questions. If you ask very simple, please ask me questions on, non-renewable sources. So the point is, take an area which is wide enough. The same thing is true for electronics engineers. The same thing is true for civil engineers. Please expect questions in your area, even if you are going for an IT company. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what academics I am talking about. So when I do say revise your academics, I am not talking about, as I said, focusing on your marks too much, because as I said, you cannot do much about it. It's very important that you set your basics right. So to all those who believe the fact that interview and test is all about speaking and only writing maths verbal, let me caution you, knowledge matters. What is the second mantra which I am going to be talking about? Be IT ready. Now what does that mean? Ladies and gentlemen, when I go to various colleges, I find people who are civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, passionate about their areas. They want a job in their area. I am not against that. Follow your dreams. That's what I keep telling my students. But please don't be an idiot as well. We should not take unnecessary risk too. Fact of the matter is, we really don't know how the core sector jobs would be. And most of the core sector jobs will not happen in 2017, it will happen in 2018. They generally come late. IT jobs happen in 2017. Most of the IT companies come during 4-1, the last semester, first semester of the fourth year, that is. So the fact is, IT companies are going to come first, core companies are going to come later. Now, if you don't fight for an IT job and you don't get an IT job, don't worry too much about it. But then be very sure you're getting a core job. But I have a question for you. What if the core companies simply don't come this year because of recession or for whatever be the reason? Are you really going to take the risk with your life? Ladies and gentlemen, there's a big difference between being an idiot and being brave. My suggestion to you, alright, and please take it from a person who is a teacher. I keep saying, ladies and gentlemen, keep a backup. When Deepthi and I decided to start our business, I gave my GRE, GMAT. Deepthi gave her GRE in GMAT. Now today when I say I have 335 in GRE, in GMAT, why do you think I have all those? I don't need to really write that for being a teacher. I gave it because I know the fact that business can be risky. What if the business does not succeed? Of course, as an entrepreneur, I would like it to succeed, but I'm not an idiot. I know the chance of failure is also there. So that is why Deepthi and I gave our GMAT and GRE and GEP. Ladies and gentlemen, keep a backup. This year, the fact of the matter is jobs are going to be less, yes, but jobs are going to be there. But the same reality holds true. Majority of the jobs are going to be in the field of IT. So what is my recommendation? If the majority of jobs are going to be in the field of IT, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and fight and get ourselves a job in IT. Tomorrow, in the month of January, February, March of 2018, when a mechanical engineering company comes and I'm a passionate mechanical engineer, let me go and fight for that too. And if I end up getting a mechanical job, nothing wrong in taking that up because I'm passionate about it. But if I don't get it, let me at least have a backup in terms of IT. Now you may ask a question, I am passionate about mechanical engineering, why should I get a job in IT? I'll give you two reasons for that. Reason number one, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I am neither the son of Tatas nor the son of Abdullahs. I only know one thing, and that's exactly what I advocate my students. Life is not always about doing what we love, quite often it's about loving what we do. When we do not have option, rather than giving up our dreams and life, it makes sense to make the most of the option that we have in hand. Don't give up on IT. How do you know you won't like IT? And how do you know you will love mechanical engineering? So the point I'm trying to make is very simple. Get yourself an IT job, it gives you a backup in case later you change your mind. There's a second reason why I'm going to say take an IT job. Because the market is down, there's a very good chance even if the companies will give you a job, they might not ask you to immediately join. Maybe the placement will happen towards the end of 2018 or even early 2019. No jokes, it has happened earlier. A couple of 3-4 years back, people got a date of joining after 1 year of completing the graduation too. So if it had happened earlier, it can happen this year too. Now, you can convert that into an advantage. How can you convert that into advantage? Core companies generally don't delay. So you could probably join the company, core company of your choice, experience it. If you like it, you continue. If you don't like it, you can still ditch it because you have another company which is probably going to invite you after some time. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really know how many of you enjoy IT, but fact of the matter is, IT is an enjoyable subject. Fact of the matter is, it's a very dynamic area to be. Don't close that option. But there's a third important reason why I recommend all my students, non-IT students also to fight for IT. Imagine the fact that I'm interested in L&T. Now I go for an L&T interview somewhere around, let's say, of Feb of 2018. Tell me, will L&T like me if I have an IT job or I don't have an IT job? The fact of the matter is, L&T will love me if I have an IT job. I can leverage it in my resume to L&T too. Because if I have an IT job and I'm going to a mechanical engineering company, I'm in a way telling the company, in spite of the fact that I have an IT job, I'm coming to you because I love you. That's an art. Learn the art of strengthening your profile. Learn the art of selling yourself to the company. There's a second reason, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the core companies think the fact that people, students, engineers, especially this generation, that's the phrase that they will use, tend to go to IT because IT is much more cushy, AC and urban location and all that. Now, when they notice the fact that you are coming in spite of an IT job, they know the fact that the passion is there. But if I were to go to them without an IT job, they will always have this doubt in their mind. Is he sure that he can take up the pressure of what mechanical engineering or a whole company can do? Maybe tomorrow if he gets an IT job, he will switch. But that doubt will not be there if you have an IT job already. And the beauty is you're mentioning that in the resume as well as in the answer. Learn the art of selling. Interview is about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. During that 5 to 10 minutes, as I keep saying, make the person fall in love. That's an art that you have to learn. And any positive news in your profile, anything that helps your profile is going to make you stronger in performance when you are in the interview room. So ladies and gentlemen, concentrate on IT. So when I say that be IT ready, what do I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, what it means is very simple. If you are an IT engineer, whatever projects you have done, be ready with that. They will question you on that because companies love anything that is practical and projects are practical. Similarly, if you have been exposed to certain languages like C, C++, Java, for God's sake, revise and be ready in case they ask you to, write simple programs. Similarly, if you are a non-IT engineer, look at your profile. If you notice there's no element of IT, during this vacation, do something in IT. See to it that your resume is not non-IT resume. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do that. You cannot go to an IT company and tell the company, I love you, but I look at the resume, I don't see anything that highlights your love. I'm not interested in your words, I'm interested in your deeds. So the fact of the matter is, during this summers, do something. If you can't do a project, do a course. I'm not asking you to go to a coaching center, pay and do it. You can do some online course or buy books like, C language for dummies or Java for dummies. Do something on your own. Companies are not looking for certification, companies are looking for knowledge. So if you have done something in the interview, tell them I've done that, and how will they know whether you're telling the truth or not? They will ask questions. And as long as you are able to convince them through your answers, ladies and gentlemen, you have done it. So during the summers, please see to it that you are noticing what are the gaps that are there, and the fact of the matter is, if you do have a gap in terms of IT, then that's a bad news. I am going to take a 1-minute breather here before I go forward. Meanwhile, I am going to make a request. In case you have any queries which I have on the 2 rules which I have talked about so far, please see to it that you are typing in. I will make it a point to address those queries. I know the fact that you probably, quite a few of you in the final year are a bit tensed. What I am saying here is not a secret, it's something that everyone knows about. Market is jittery. Every day, as I said in the newspaper, people seem to be talking more about firing than about hiring. So yes, I know tension is more. But I keep saying, we need to be practical in understanding the challenges. We cannot be thinking that Facebook is a news channel. We cannot be moving by emotions. Let's understand the fact that as many negative uses are there. Yes, so many positive uses are not there, but we still have quite a few positive uses. So my suggestion is this: in case you have anything that is troubling you, don't hesitate, just type in. I will make it a point if I can help to help, alright? So with this, let me go to point number 3, which I strongly recommend that you should do. Fill the gaps. Now when I say fill the gaps, what does it mean? My suggestion is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. During this vacation, sit in a corner, maybe tomorrow, maybe day after, and make a resume. Make a resume both for an IT company and for a core company, and it goes without saying, resume for an IT company cannot be the same for the core company and vice versa. You cannot write one love letter to 2 different girls, ladies and gentlemen. So the point that you need to understand is, IT company resume should be more little IT oriented, core company things should be little more core company oriented. So if you have seen my classes on resume making, I keep saying learn the art of personalizing. For example, if you have done any project in IT, highlight a little bit more in your IT profile, but downplay it a little bit in your core profile, though you do mention about it, because core companies also love people who are technologically inclined. So the bottom line I am trying to make is this: make a resume. Why is making of resume so essential right now? Because the moment you make a resume, you can see where are the areas of concern. For example, if you are a person whose academics is low, maybe you had very good marks in 10th class, maybe you had very good marks in 12th class, maybe right now you rock but at the bottom. So one of the challenging questions that they are going to ask is, why has your percentage come down? Please appreciate, you cannot stand up and say, I was a James Bond in 10th class and 12th class. They are not looking for someone who was a James Bond in the past. They are trying to understand, are you a James Bond right now or not? So if your academics is weak, maybe you have a couple of backlogs. Ladies and gentlemen, then what is that you should do? You need to see to it that you go a little forward and do something right now so that your profile seems much better. So if your academics is good, my suggestion is not good, my suggestion is very simple. Try to include something on curriculum, co-curricular activities, including some projects, etc., which you can do now and introduce that into the resume. Similarly, I talked about a gap. You are a non-IT engineer going for an IT job, see to it that you do something in IT and introduce that inside. Similarly, maybe you have not done well in academics and you have nothing in extracurricular activities. Now that's the bad news. If you in the resume you don't have anything in academics, you don't have anything in extracurricular activities, you don't have any hobbies, shit man, then why would a company fall in love with you? Now you can't change academics, but you can change extracurricular activities. Maybe during the summers you will take up some activity which you can, write in the resume. Maybe you can pick up a hobby. If you have watched my video on hobbies, I keep saying, come up with something innovative, because if you go to the interview and talk about a hobby which is different, there's a very good chance companies would love to question you on those hobbies. Why don't you pick up a hobby that is different? You still have 2 to 3 months, learn about it, fall in love with it, and more importantly, when you go to the company, make the company person fall in love with the hobbies that you have, with the passion that you exhibit. Therefore, can we fill the gaps that we have in the resume in the next couple of months? Answer is yes. Can you fill it 2 weeks before the interview? Answer is no. So the fact of the matter is, summers is the best time for you because you are free. You don't have college, so you don't have a boss telling you that till 4 o'clock you have to be here, and you therefore have huge amount of time in your hand to do what you can do. And ladies and gentlemen, do watch Bahubali 2 if you have not watched. I'm being an idiot here, I'm sure there cannot be anyone who has not watched Bahubali 2. But the fact of the matter is, apart from enjoying, see to it that a large chunk of your summer vacation is used to improve your profile, and if a gap is there, to fill the profile, because without a good profile, you are maybe challenging your fate. And that is not something that I would strongly recommend. So, point number 3 here is very simple: identify the gaps and fill the gaps. What is point number 4? Alright, this has always been my favorite: English and not Hinglish. Ladies and gentlemen, knowledge is one thing, convincing the company that you have the knowledge is another thing. And when you convince, remember, I keep telling in all my sessions on personality, on interview skills, on group discussion skills, across my videos I might have told you this. You need to convince in the language which they want. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is in English. So the point that you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is this: English has to be focused on. Don't go into the interview room and give them excuses. Sir, I come from, vernacular language. I did my schooling in Hindi. I did my schooling in Telugu. I am a James Bond in Urdu. Ladies and gentlemen, the world does not want these languages. Fortunately, unfortunately, that's a call that you need to take. World wants English. And the reason world wants English is because we are goddamn ambitious. We are not looking for joining small companies or regional companies or local companies where everyone is going to be from the same city or the same region. We are planning to join big companies where our clients can be international, big companies where our colleagues can be from other states and maybe other countries too. And yes, because we are working in teams today, the only way we are going to communicate is in the English. And ladies and gentlemen, therefore companies need people who are good in English. So let's be good in English. A point that, however, you need to notice. When I say being good in English, don't mistake me, I'm not saying be perfect in English. We are not looking for a call center job. And I'm sure you are aware of what is this call center. Good morning, ICICI Bank, may I help you? All these are call center guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of respect for them, but believe me, they're not doing a great job. The point that you need to understand is, we are not going there as call center executives. When you go as a call center executive, English has to be perfect. Maybe they will talk about our mother tongue influence. They will say the accent you have is bad. We are not going for that. We are going for knowledge organizations. We are going to depend more on our brain than our tongue. But having said that, let's not forget, in today's knowledge organizations, there will be a lot of meetings that will take place. There will be a lot of knowledge transfer that will take place. What is known as KTs, a very famous term that we use in the corporate world. Brainstorming will take place. And companies are not looking for people who are only going to be listeners and then say yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Bullshit. Companies want people today who can, openly speak, express themselves, debate, discuss. Yes, we are not asking you to fight. We are not saying that if finally the boss takes, a stance, you say bullshit, I'm not supporting you on that. You need to support him because he's the boss. But corporates today are open to ideas. Bosses are no more bosses when it comes to brainstorming session. During that time, they are like colleagues. That's why most of the companies you will notice, you could be asked to call them in using first name basis. Why do you think companies today, knowledge-based companies, encourage first name? They encourage first name because they want the barriers to break. So the bottom line is this: English has to be good. And how do we How do we improve our English? Should I rush to buy Redden Martin grammar, start reading from page number 1 to, 200, 300? Should I maybe buy a dictionary and start by hearting the words? No. Most of the English that we wish to speak, we already know. I have not met anyone who is in a decent enough college, and for me every college is a decent enough college, who can't speak in English, ladies and gentlemen. If he cannot speak in English, that's not because he does not know English, he or she of course. It's more because he or she is not fluent in English, because he or she is not confident about English, about their English. So the bottom line is, during this vacation I have a very strong request. See to it that you start speaking to your friends in English. The beauty about your friends is 90% of our communication happens with our friends. Please don't reserve English only for the 10%. Ladies and gentlemen, even when you are speaking to strangers, most of the time we speak in Telugu or in Hindi or in Urdu for that matter. We are already pundits in all these languages. We need to become pandit in English. So the bottom line is, start speaking to them in English. Believe me, in 1, 2, 3 months the fluency will improve. Maybe today when you speak the fluency is not there. Maybe you are searching for words. Maybe your confidence is not there. Maybe therefore you are not maintaining good eye contact. Maybe therefore your body language sucks big time. But the fact of the matter is, give yourself some time. Don't give up. English will improve. One of the things I keep telling my students is this, we need to understand we are human beings. We can't do everything overnight. When we came out of the mom's womb, we didn't run marathon on day number 1. We crawled, we walked, we ran. And when we tried to walk for the first time in our life, we fell. But the beauty is, we didn't give up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the time to give up. When the market is down, when things are against us, this is the time when we need to stand up and fight. This is the time we understand our limitations, but we tell ourselves we are going to overcome these limitations, because these limitations are not acceptable to the society, and more importantly the companies where we are going to go for. Certain weaknesses, it's okay. Maybe I am not very handsome, alright? Who cares? But if I can't speak in good English, you better care. So my 4th rule is very simple. See to it that you are speaking in English. Now, before I go forward to the 5th rule, let me answer a question that has been asked by Vijaya. The question that has been asked is, please tell which type of hobbies fetch. Now, I'm going to repeat what is there in my video, right? And you have the access to the video, I'm sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is, companies ask about hobbies for a couple of reasons. Please do not be under the impression that if you say watching TV is your hobby, on your birthday the company is going to give you a 56-inch flat screen television, maybe not flat screen alone, curved television too. Companies ask about hobbies because they want to understand what you know. The moment you go and talk about hobbies, number 1, please don't say you don't have hobbies. You need to have hobbies. Because hobby is something that you do out of your interest. How can you say you don't have any interest? Yes, you can say you have many hobbies, but then at least name a few hobbies. Companies will like to know, if they want to ask you more questions about how you spend your time. But the main reason why company asks about your hobbies is also to know what sort of person you are. So if you were to come to me and tell me as a part of your hobbies you write reading books, watching television, I know the fact that you are a shy person, you are an introvertish person. And is that a good news for me? No, because I am looking for a person who is going to work in teams. Yes, if I am a research and development company, I don't mind you being an introvertish, alright? But mostly today, I am looking for people who can work in teams. So ladies and gentlemen, I need a person who can mingle with others. So the first thing, Vijaya, is simply this. Please don't give 1 hobby, 2 hobby. Give me 2, 3 hobbies, out of which 1 hobby has to be a group hobby. Give me a group hobby. Now, it can be in sports, it can be in traveling. Make me fall in love with you. Give me something on adventure, I am crazy in love with you. Alright? The second rule is very simple. Give me a hobby which you can talk about. Because generally companies tend to concentrate also on hobbies as a part of their question for a simple reason. Because hobby is something that you do out of your own interest. So when the companies ask you a question, they want to see, can you at least answer in those areas which you are passionate about, or at least you claim to be passionate about. Because if you are not able to answer questions in the areas which you say you are passionate about, and hobby is supposed to be one such, then my question is very simple. How the hell are you going to be passionate on an area which you are not interested in right now? How are you going to pick up learning habits in the areas which you are not interested in right now? So ladies and gentlemen, the moment you say hobby is something that you're supposed to be in love with. Then get to know a little more about it. For God's sake, don't give excuses like, I only play cricket, sir. Therefore, don't ask me anything on cricket. I don't know any rules of cricket. I don't know what's happening in IPL and all that. You are expected to know. Show me the fact that you have a little wider interest area. The next important rule I talk about is this. Make me fall in love. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the points I keep repeating is this. When you go for the interviewer is tired. You probably are sitting outside waiting to go to the interview and you are shit tired, but think of the person who is taking the interview too. That person is also tired. So many people have come and every time he says, introduce yourself, he is going on asking questions. The beauty is after having interviewed 10 person, you know what? He is bored to death. And then you are the 11th person you come in and you give me a hobby which I am tired of having heard from all them. I want to kill you. Don't make me do that. Give me a hobby which is different, make me fall in love. So a hobby that is different is a fantastic thing. Pick a hobby which can be different. Can photography be different? Yes. But don't tell me you take photographs only through your mobile phones. Tell me you use SLR camera and yes, get to know what is this SLR. Tell me the fact that you love going on long drives, Show me the fact that you have some adventure element in you. But the moment you say you love going on long drives, expect some questions on your bike or on the car. Don't tell me I have a bike but I don't know anything about the bike. You're expected to know it. Because when you're going on a long bike drive, something is likely to happen. If something happens, I'd like to ask a question in the interview. If something happens, what is the first thing you will do? So the point that you need to understand is such questions can be asked because that is how the company will get to know how passionate you are. So if you can think of a different hobby, companies are going to be in love with you. And more importantly, you will learn the art of controlling the interview. Go to the interview, talk about a hobby that he has not heard of, she has not heard of. There's a very good chance more questions will be asked on that. And yes, be prepared for one more question. These are questions I will be addressing when I do sessions on interview skills as I go forward. Before I forget, let's not forget, every Tuesday and Thursday, you will be having sessions taken by 5 of us. Let me introduce my team. Seshan, Deepthi, Sumant, Aditya and myself. We will be the 5 of us taking sessions over the next couple of months on Tuesdays and Thursdays where we will be focusing on many things. And my focus is of course going to be on interview skills. Now, I will be talking about the fact that when you talk about hobbies, you should be expecting certain questions. Like for example, if you love cricket so much, why don't you make that as a career? If you like singing so much, why don't you take up singing as a profession? We will see how to answer those questions as we go forward, but yes, when you talk about hobbies, expect that too. Pratyusha is asking me a question. She is saying that, but these hobbies are not going to help the company in any way. Pratyusha, hobby is for you. Alright? Hobby is not something that companies are going to look forward to benefiting directly. The point that you need to understand is the fact that it is not that hobbies are not going to help the companies at all. What is a hobby? I am tired, I go home, whatever is my hobby, I pick it up, I do it for some time and it helps me relax. And next day when I go to the office, I am a relaxed person. So is my efficiency going to be going higher? Answer is yes. So don't think that hobby should be something that's directly relevant to the company. Don't go to the company and say, I love coding, that's my hobby. Or to a mechanical engineering company saying that I love working on lathe, that's my hobby. No, ladies and gentlemen, the point is hobbies are something that's personal to you. Maybe a hobby like reading Bible, Quran or even Gita can be a hobby. Nothing wrong in it, something that helps you relax. That reminds me, one of the hobby many people talk about is making friends. Can making friends be a hobby? Can I have an answer, yes or no? Can I say in the interview, I love making friends and that, ladies and gentlemen, is my hobby? Yes or no? Because quite a few people I have heard in the interviews are getting excited about making friends. They want to show to the world, especially to the company, that they are very friendly, extroverted type of person, and they mention as a hobby making friends. Can that be a hobby? Answer is no. Ladies and gentlemen, hobby is something that you do when you are tired and you want to relax. So are you telling me at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock when you are tired, you go home and you decide that, I want to relax? So are you saying that you suddenly change your dress, wear jeans, wear new shirts and pants and then go outside and say, I'm going to make friends? Bullshit, that doesn't happen. Making friends is a strength. It cannot be a hobby. Hobby has to be an activity which relaxes you, maybe gardening, maybe music, why not? So in my subsequent classes, I will elaborate a little more on this about what can be very good hobbies and what sort of questions you should expect when you tell the hobbies. So Pratyusha, I hope that I have been able to address the query that you have, but as I said, I will be elaborating a little more on each of these questions as I go forward. We will be taking live questions that have come very recently, been asked by the companies, and we will also address those. But in case any one of you have other issues or other questions, please feel free to fire it. As I go forward, I will make it a point to address them and elaborate on them too. Alright, this is the fourth point. What is the fifth point? Fifth point is practice. Now, I am never ever going to discount this rule. This is for me is the most important rule. One of the best thing I keep telling about our generation, and when I am saying our generation, I am probably trying to be a little young here. But fact of the matter is, one of the best thing about our generation, ladies and gentlemen, is this world is not necessarily only for people who are intelligent, it's also for people who are hardworking. Ask me, I have a weakness, I am not intellectually great. And I know that, alright? I don't need to be told that I am not a James Bond when it comes to my mind. 60%, 66 in 12th. My memory sucks big time, I can't remember things. But if you were to tell me that I will fail, I will say bullshit, no way. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one thing I have learned in my life, that learned thing is hard work can replace and make up for lack of intelligence, and that's how I operate. The fact of the matter is, practice is essential. When things go bad, a company comes in, last year it recruited 100 students, this year is going to recruit 50 students, does not mean you are going to be among the 50 rejected, you are going to be among that 50 selected. And how do I improve my probability? I am going to practice. Maybe a person who is a very close friend of mine is fantastic, he's a James Bond, he's intellectually, Albert Einstein. I am an idiot, but I am not going to go and tell him, yeah, you will get a job, I am going to fail. No way. I am rather going to go and tell him, you are going to get a job if the interview and the test were today, but 3 months from now, I am going to rip you apart. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a competitive exam we are talking about. When the company comes to your campus and you go for the written test, don't ever fool yourself. It is a competitive exam. Every friend of yours whose hand you probably have been holding and making promises, we'll live together, we'll die together, is going to compete against you that day. And you better be ready for competition. So what I am going to suggest is simply this. 1. Academics, practice. 2. Written test, god damn it, practice. Because the cutoffs are going to be higher now. Why are the cutoffs going to be higher? Because lesser number of people are expected to be invited for the interview round or the group discussion round. So be prepared for that. Don't tell me you don't like English. Don't tell me you are weak in grammar. If you are weak in grammar, practice and become decent enough in grammar. If you are okay in maths but your speed is not very good, then practice and improve your speed. All that is our responsibility. We cannot give up on life just because President Trump is today President of America. We cannot give up on life because monsoons has decided that it's going to fail. We cannot give up life because rupee is appreciating. Ladies and gentlemen, in spite of all that, we are going to fight for a job. And if that requires us to fight harder, we will fight harder. That attitude is what I am looking for. One of the things Conduira is known for is that we are considered to be pushers. I push because I passionately believe that fact that we need to be moving towards our goal at whatever cost. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when we look back at life, we should not regret. I keep telling this to my students, most of our parents are not happy with their life and that's why they keep pushing us. When they tell us, study, 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 become big, they tell because they have failed to become big. Ladies and gentlemen, I love my parents, but that's a fact of life of all of us. Today, every parent wants a child to be better than what they are. Every generation wants the next generation to be better. Our parents would be very happy if we can beat them and improve on their social standing. And this is an opportunity that you have. And the beauty is practice can help us do that. So ladies and gentlemen, practice for the written test. If your English is not very good, practice. If your confidence is not very good, practice. If your body language is not very good, practice. Ladies and gentlemen, there is only one mantra I am going to repeat 100 times, practice. Don't ever hesitate sitting in front of the mirror if you believe you cannot communicate well. Don't ever hesitate sitting in front of the mirror, looking into the eyes and giving the answer. My name is Abdullah. I'm a mechanical engineer. I did my mechanical engineering from Birla Vishwakarma Mahavidyalaya. Damn it, let people laugh. You practice. Every time you practice, believe me, your confidence is going to go up. And ladies and gentlemen, when you go for the written test, when you go for the interview, it is this confidence that is going to convert your failure to success. This is that is going to improve your probability of you meeting your dream. Practice. And summers is for practice. My morning starts at 6:30. My evening goes till 10. I slog. But I slog because I want to lead a life of my choice. I got a job in government. I didn't go for that. I have a lot of respect for people who are in government, ladies and gentlemen. But I know I cannot be that. My goal is I want to make money. I want to be rich. I am shameless in saying that, and that's exactly what I tell my students. Let's be ambitious enough. The point that we need to understand is the fact that in today's generation, we can make what we want. Money is never going to be a criteria provided we are good. And the beauty of it, the goodness need not come intellectually, it can come through practice. So the fifth mantra, when I'm going to repeat again and again and again and again, is this: practice. Now, two questions I'm going to be addressing. One is Trivendra, who has asked what are the jobs better nowadays, government or private. Trivendra, you're asking me which girl to marry. How can I tell that? It depends on what is that you enjoy. I'll tell you the advantages and disadvantages. Government job security is going to be there, alright? Is it going to be there? I don't know. With time, job security is also coming down. For example, I don't know whether you're aware, today government does not give you pension. In fact, you save for pension. That is something that private sector also does, alright? But yes, government job to a large extent can be considered to be secure enough. The beauty of government job is once you sit in the chair, that is your son, that's your thorn, that's your, even prime minister can't take you off the chair. Unless of course you are an idiot and you've done something big. So there is a degree of job security. Private sector, they love you, you go up very fast. So if you are a person who would love to take up challenges, if you are a person who has this self-belief and you would like to grow fast, government sector might not be able to meet that expectation of yours because government sector believes in time-based promotion, especially at the beginning of your career. So you need to take a call whether you want to be in government sector or private sector. But let me suggest you what I have always been telling my students. Whether it's a government sector or a private sector, go for the best of the best jobs. I find people who are very good chasing the jobs for clerical jobs. What are we talking about? You understand what you're going to do as a clerk. You are going to stand like this in front of a person who is probably going to be younger than you, probably going to be from a college not as good as you, but you are going to stand like this because that person fought for a bigger test while you fought for a smaller test. Security is not the only thing we want. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if I were to ask, you will say security is not the only thing you want. You want something else. Job satisfaction, respect. So if you are thinking of government, don't hesitate fighting for civil services. But if you believe you cannot go for civil services, look for something else, engineering services. You have something in PSUs. You have choices. Banking today gives a huge amount of opportunity. Why not fight for banking? Fight for RBI, best, SBI, next best. So you have options there. But if you go for the private sector, again you have a lot of options there. Let's not forget today startups is a big. We are a startup. We have so many people from IITs and IIMs who are working in our company right now. So ladies and gentlemen, opportunity is there in both places. Understand as a person, are you a risk taker or you are not? What motivates you more, money or respect? All these questions are the questions that you need to take before you decide which girl you are going to marry. In my case, I did not go for job security. I got the first job, which was Government of India company. I wanted a little more challenge, so I went to the private sector. Then I said I want a little more challenge. I quit that to start on my own. I'm an entrepreneur today. Ladies and gentlemen, it depends on us. So do take a call, get to know what you are, and then go forward. Sai Kumar, you have asked for a question how to improve vocabulary. My answer is very simple. We are going to give you a tool very soon. That is a vocab prep which will help you. Let me assure you, I don't know how much you know of me. I'm too good in teaching vocabulary, and so are various other members of my team. I don't know whether Sumant, you attended Sumant's session yesterday. He is called as James Bond when it comes to vocabulary. So believe me, we will help you over the next couple of months improve your vocabulary through our sessions. But having said that, I would strongly recommend you to watch the videos that we have updated, put in Conduira Online. The reason I say that is because vocab is not about by-hearting by reading a dictionary. If you can do that, you would have been a James Bond already. I'm sure you would have tried that. At least I tried it. And the beauty is, by the time I finished my first page, I was asleep also, and I got the best sleep of my life too. You can't buy heart words by reading through a dictionary. You have to come out with creative methods. So if you notice in our videos, we have used roots method, which is the technique that I use. There are many other methods which various of my experts will be exposing you to. I also have a young expert called Sashi. He will also be introducing you to various methods as we go forward. But the best way of improving the vocab is by improving the reading habits. But can I recommend that right now? Answer is yes and no. Yes, because you need to develop a reading habit. No, because you have to be in the examination mode right now. Ladies and gentlemen, reading habit will improve your vocabulary, but it will take a little more time as well. So I am going to suggest, do work on your reading habits, but parallelly watch videos on vocabulary, come out with good words and methods of learning words and fall in love with the words. Use these words in your communication, but be a little wary, because quite often I have my GRE students who learn big words and they start using big words, and suddenly the audience does not know whether the person is speaking French or German. Knowing big words is good, because if some idiot uses those words, you understand what the other person is speaking. But your communication should be simple. But yes, fall in love with words. Ayush is saying, I will go for civil service. Ayush, congratulations. Yes, I'm very happy you're setting big dreams. I don't know whether you're aware, my elder brother is an IAS officer. He got All India 2 in civil services. That was in the year 1995. And believe me, he's rocking, he's enjoying his life, he's doing fantastically great. And more importantly, I'm proud of him because he's contributing very positively to the society as well. So yes, civil service is a big dream, but don't put all your eggs in that one basket. I believe you are also writing examination for banking, etc. Go ahead and do so. The reason is civil services is a bit risky an exam, and I'm sure you are aware of it. It's a very competitive examination, lesser number of seats and ever shrinking number of seats, and over and above you have reservation which shrink the number further. So yes, chase your dreams, but don't be an idiot. Keep a backup, and I know you are not an idiot because I know that fact that you have been you're trying even for banking and other exams, and I'm really happy and I'm proud of you for that. Please carry on and do that. Mohamed has asked me a question: what are the languages taken up by non-IT students in summer? Mohamed, please don't go ahead and try to become a James Bond in IT. You don't really need to. If you do not have an inclination for IT so far, my suggestion is basic languages, C or C++, Java, and no, you don't need to know all these three. All right. Data structures is important. That goes without saying. That's more logical. Then pick up one language. My recommendation is either C++ or Java, and be decently good at that. But what I'm going to suggest is, let's be a little more ambitious, considering the fact that you do have a little more time. Try to do a project in that. And no, don't do a project which every idiot does. You know, when I see the resume, I find the same project being done by everyone. You do that, your project is not going to be exciting enough. Remember the rule I said in hobbies, anything different is exciting for the interviewer. So if you can take up a project, a little more sensible project, during the summer, in any of these languages, believe me, you write that in the resume, there's a very good chance they will ask you more questions. They will ask little more questions in the interview, and therefore you learn how to control the interview. Ayush, you need to forgive me, and thank you for understanding me also. I do tend to use words like idiot. In fact, I call myself probably the biggest idiot around. But the beauty is, as I said, today idiot is not necessarily a negative word. Alright? Thank you so much for understanding me, and yes, it was a compliment. I love my students for what I do. In fact, I am not sure whether you are aware, I never wanted to become a teacher. Life made me a teacher. But like I said before, life is about loving what we do. Today I am passionately in love with my students, and I love being a teacher. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what I am advocating. I have never ever suggested to a student something which I don't practice. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what is leadership all about. You need to fight for what you want. Now I have Sai Kumar asking me the question, what are the companies looking for? How are the companies looking? Ladies and gentlemen, the point that you need to understand is companies this year are going to be a little more stringent, because when the requirements are lesser, they are going to be a little more tied up. 2-3 things, let me bring everything together before I close, because we are already 5 minutes past our the class is still 9:30 I believe, so I still have 10 minutes, so let me elaborate. One, written test, they would expect a higher cutoff, so be prepared for it, and my recommendation is very simple: practice as much as possible. You are all the students of Conduira Online, so what my suggestion is, see to it that if you look at the dashboard, you have company-based test. Please see to it that you are selecting the company that is coming to your campus. use a recommendation algorithm that our platform has to know which are the areas of weaknesses. What the system does is very simple. Having understood you, basis the performance of the test, it matches the requirements of the company and then recommends what are the areas that you need to focus on. So use that powerfully. The second thing, my recommendation is very simple. There are companies which have writing skills which have come in, like Tech Mahindra does that. Please see to it that you're practicing that too, because I have seen quite a few people lose out in their writing skills. Similarly, group discussion, companies are going to have it, especially core companies are going to have it, PSU companies do have it. Please practice a little more into it. So my suggestion is this, that when you practice a little more, the confidence will go up. So please do that. Technically, a little more than what last year was. Last year, if they ask simple questions, this year they'll probably ask a little higher question, therefore that becomes important. Similarly, interview is going to be a little more stringent, which means today they might require a person to be a little more confident than what they saw last year because the requirements were higher there. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, see to it that you are also building on your confidence too. So bottom line, when things become tough, we need to up the art fighting thing too, so we need to fight, so please do so. Teja has asked me a question, Sir Mohamed sir, can you answer my query regarding your weaknesses and strength? Teja, there is a separate video on both weakness and strength. My request is do run through it because it goes in depth, giving a philosophy as to how to make a good answer for strength and weaknesses. But having said that, some other session which going forward I will be doing about personal interview, I make a promise I will be covering this. But it's a very important question, both your strength and the weaknesses, because companies tend to focus a lot on that. And why is strength and weakness important? Strength and weakness is important because companies therefore try to understand you better, and more importantly, they understand whether you have understood yourself better or not. There are 5 questions I consider as very important for HR interview. Tell me something about yourself: strengths, weaknesses, short-term goal and long-term goal. These are 5 questions which I have elaborated quite extensively in my video, and I will be taking it up forward when I go. So yes, please see to it that you are having a look at it. Otherwise, I make a promise I will cover it later. Trivendra said, I am an idiot. Ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is this: there's nothing wrong in being an idiot. The problem is if the results show the fact that we are idiots, then we are big idiots. The point is this: at the end of the day, the world wants result. And result is no more a function of intellectual ability. Idiots are those guys whose IQ is not very strong. Congratulations, you are seeing one here. I have all India rank 17 in GATE, I have 335 out of 340 in GRE, I have 740 out of 800 in GMAT. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a James Bond. Maybe an idiot, but a James Bond too. The point that we need to understand is we are not going to be held back by what the world calls us. We are going to prove the world that we can be different. And ladies and gentlemen, I really hope therefore you will take all the insights which I have provided here, and I will provide as I go forward, along with my team which will be supporting this attempt of ours to help you get the job in spite of what happens in the market. I keep saying at the end of the day, it does not matter what happens outside in the world, what matters is what happens in our life. Do we have the right to lead a life our way? Answer is yes. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to lead it that way. So with this note, let me close. I am going to be inviting you guys again for the next session. As I said, every Tuesday and Thursday we have our sessions. What I am going to do is very simple. I am going to be asking you guys to add a number which I am going to write here. Let me quickly switch to this, and of course make my pen work. You have to excuse me for this. Pointer options. Let me bring in the pen and this. I am writing a number here: 81069516660. Now this is the Conduira Radio WhatsApp number. My suggestion is do save this number, because every time we have a session, we make it a point to send a message through this radio. Now this is a Conduira radio, therefore no one will get to know your number. It's private, so you don't need to worry about it. But every time we keep a session, you will get to know of it. As I said, as far as the CRT is concerned, every Tuesday and Thursday we are going to have sessions which will focus on not just various areas of test but also specific companies. As we learn about the patterns of various companies, we will quickly be covering those up in these sessions. So it will be nice to have you come on board. This is something that we are doing in addition to all the videos and the tests that you have been able to get in our platform. All of you guys who are there in our platform right now, we have about 12,000 students in the CRT platform of Conduira Online. My suggestion is very simple: use it productively. I have one more request. Most of you guys are in the colleges where our platform is being used. Do make it a point to tell all your friends about this, because we would like them to benefit too. Yes, competition is there, but as I keep saying, friendship is also there. We will go inside, we will take our friends inside, and ladies and gentlemen, let the friendship continue to flourish. The year 2017 will be special for us. And yes, that's a promise that you need to make to yourself, and use the next 3 months very productively. After all, summer vacation is going to be coming to an end very fast, and this is going to be the last summer vacation before hopefully you stop being a student and be a professional. All the very best. I am going to be staying back for 5 minutes of stopping this. In case you have any queries, you type in. I also make a promise, like I always do, to take up these questions in subsequent classes. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. All the very best, and let's continue to rock. Thank you. Good night.